This video is sponsored by AnyDesk. In Berlin, there is a building few enter, but many try. It is the hardest club to access on the planet. Hundreds of people are rejected in a night. No one, except those lucky enough to get in, knows what it looks like on the inside. That is, until now. I will show you what is inside the world's most notorious nightclub. I'll show you what's inside Berghain. Sophie is a 23-year-old German who grew up in Bavaria. She doesn't speak to her mother, but she does stay in contact with her Volkswagen-employed father. A year ago, she moved to Berlin to pursue a career as an artist. She works mostly at cafes, though. Her backpack is filled with multiple outfits. Some who get into Berghain stay for days. For Sophie, her bag is a tool, a signal to the strictest bouncers in the world that she's no amateur. It's cold in her fishnets. The line starts to move. In 1949, Berlin was separated by ideology between East and West. Their visions on urban planning divided too. The Second World War destroyed homes. New ones had to be built, and both sides wanted to flex.
I speak, of course, of West Berlin, a huge, vibrant city with its great main road, comparable in breadth and luxury of its stores to our Champs-Élysées.
In the West, the center became the Breitscheidplatz, the Kurfürstendamm, its most attractive boulevard.
Shops where you can find everything. Cafes, restaurants that are always full, and especially at night.
In the East, it became Alexanderplatz, and right next to it, the East German elites planned the construction of a grand new socialist boulevard, the Stalinallee.
Die Stalinallee ist der Grundstein des Aufbaus zum Sozialismus in der Hauptstadt Deutschlands, Berlin.
The first socialist street in East Germany. It would increase the amount of homes and try to advertise the strength of socialism through concrete and mortar. It also created Berghain.
Regel 1. Die Stadt als Siedlungsform ist nicht zufällig entstanden.
In the 1950s, the DDR adopts the 16 principles of urban design, a lesson on urban planning from a Russian parent to a German child.
Das Ziel des Städtebaus ist die harmonische Befriedigung des menschlichen Anspruchs auf Arbeit, Wohnung, Kultur und Erholung.
The Soviets said that organized housing blocks should be built first, so the East Germans did. They built 6 to 7 story tall buildings with restaurants, movie theaters, and other amenities. This was a time when the refrigerator was a symbol for luxury. The apartments in Stalinallee had space built for them.
Regel 7. Bei Städten, die an einem Fluss liegen, ist eine der Hauptadern und die architektonische Achse der Fluss mit seinen Uferstraßen.
The Soviets said to build parallel next to water. The Stalinallee was.
Die vielgeschossige Bauweise ist wirtschaftlicher als die ein- oder zweigeschossige. Sie entspricht auch dem Charakter der Großstadt.
The boulevard was built with public transportation, modern amenities, and with restaurants and worker buildings. But the Stalinallee needed one more thing to complete it: a plant to power it. In 1953, the DDR constructs a heating plant. It's 1:30 in the morning. Sophie is closer. She's at a point in the line where her vibe of depressed art student will be vital in getting her in. If she even gives off the slightest hint that her father sends her more than €1,000 each month, her chances will be ruined. Right in front of her is a group of loud British men equipped with puffy North Face jackets and piles of makeup that happen to come with a British girl attached. Gut, Sophie thinks to herself. The Brits will be rejected in an instant. The bouncers will be more likely to accept a familiar German after. When the Berlin Wall fell, East Berlin became a shell. While the West filled, in the East, buildings emptied. The city was sliced in half by the wall, and after its stitches, the city remained
Nearly
a
3
cripple.
million East Germans have asked for visas.
Where almost every single European capital is an economic hub for their country, Berlin isn't. If France lost Paris, it'd be poorer. If Britain, London, the same. But if Germany, Berlin, it would be richer. It doesn't really have any major companies. It isn't the home base for a tech behemoth, and its pull for capital is weaker than Munich or Hamburg. But Berlin does have one other thing that the others don't. It has edge. The leftover buildings in the east became abandoned breeding grounds for techno.
Dem Berlin der 90er, wo man sich leere Räume genommen und die bespielt hat und sie irgendwann wieder verlassen. So eine Art Hausbesetzer-Ethos. Und das galt ja auch fürs Ostgut, das eine Fabrikhalle im Nirgendwo war.
Ostgut was regarded as Berlin's most important gay club. Run by Michael Tufel and Norbert Dormann, it was a place for a different type of music and offered protection for different types of behavior. But in 2003, it had to close. The city had set its sights on a brand new stadium. Ostgut's owners had to find a new, empty building. Sophie can see the bouncer. The Brits are the only thing standing between her and entering Berghain. In front of them is a man named Sven. Not someone you'd want to argue with. Tonight he'll have to fight the fragile male British ego.
Oi, alright mate, guten Tag, mein friend.
Heute nicht.
Jamesy, what does he mean?
Heute nicht.
Mate, are you taking the mickey?
Nein.
We've been waiting out here for fucking hours.
Does he mean we should come back at 9?
The British men were pulled away by two bouncers. Sophie became excited. Too excited. She composed herself and made herself think about the banality of existence, and then about how her thinking about that made her edgy and cool, producing the perfect combination of facial muscles that could get her into the club. It was her turn now. Sven was in front of her. Sven began working for Ostgut. The strict door policy he helps administer is not just a marketing tactic, it's necessary.
Ich habe die Verantwortung, das Berghain zu einem sicheren Ort für Menschen zu machen, die einfach kommen, um die Musik zu genießen und zu feiern.
To keep people away from the prying eyes of adults who were once kids that told on others in elementary school, Sven protects those who would be told on.
Der Club hat sich aus der Berliner Schwulenszene der 90er Jahre entwickelt. Es ist mir wichtig, etwas von diesem Erbe zu bewahren, dass es sich immer noch wie ein einladender Ort für die ursprünglichen Clubbesucher anfühlt.
To get through Sven and his team of bouncers, there are many unspoken rules people think you should follow. Be in a small group, wear black, look bored and somewhat indifferent, do not speak, and if spoken to, speak German. But these rules really aren't that black and white. Getting into Berghain comes down, fundamentally, to a vibe. Sophie's identity was crafted through years of not eating enough by a distant, emotionally unavailable workaholic parent and an arts education filled with regret. Tonight, her vibe is enough. Sven nods and lets her pass. When making these videos, there are lots of times where I wish I could leave my grandparents' basement, but I'm always locked in by my PC, which is where I render these 3D animations. AnyDesk, without exaggeration, is a literal life changer. It allows me to access my PC from anywhere, and it does it seamlessly. Lightning-fast connection speeds make it feel as though I'm right back in my room. Transferring files is easy, and that's crucial for large 3D animation work where every second of upload and download time counts. Its simple user interface means that even my grandma can use it. But what sets AnyDesk apart is its commitment to security. It's a European company, meaning data security and privacy are non-negotiable. I feel confident that my computer access is secure. It has a 99.98% uptime, works well in low bandwidth, and it is a game changer for remote video editing. It's changed how I work. Try out AnyDesk at anydesk.com/hoob. When we speak of Berghain, we are mainly speaking about this section. There's also the Halle, which is a much larger chamber that's on the backside of the building. But this area is more publicly accessible and does not have a cult following surrounding it. When we speak of Berghain, we're actually talking about 4 floors, each with separate clubs located here. The most recently opened club is called Säule, located on the ground floor. The Berghain dance floor is on the main floor, and then there's the Panorama Bar, located on the top floor. Berghain is where they play techno music, which is open from Saturday evening until Monday. The Panorama Bar, on the other hand, is for lighter house music. The last and 5th place is the male-exclusive Laboratory. It has a separate, more mysterious entrance at the side of the building, which goes to the basement of Berghain. In the main building, there are also dark rooms for play, But the lab is the more exclusive and restricted location.
Einerseits braucht es Nischen und Rückzugsräume. Menschen sind Höhlenbewohner und mögen enge Räume. Andererseits braucht es freie Bewegungsflächen, die ein reibungsloses Cruisen ermöglichen und Räume, in denen sich Gäste präsentieren können.
Sometimes Berghain and the lab are connected via Säule, and only men are admitted to the entire building. But the majority of times, it's separate.
Die Betreiber wollten einen Verein, mit dem sie keinen Stress haben. Weder mit der Baubehörde, noch mit dem Brandschutz, noch mit der Polizei.
The interior was designed by Studio Carhartt, who had to navigate a fine line between maximizing freedom while minimizing chaos.
Ein Club ist wie ein Kindergarten. Man muss mit dem Unerwarteten rechnen. In den Gitterrosten, die wir im Berghain verbaut haben, sind die Löcher entweder so klein, dass man seinen Finger nicht hineinstecken kann, oder so groß, dass er nicht stecken bleibt. Für die Böden glatt geschliffener Asphalt. Der lässt sich fugenlos einbauen und ist kaugummiresistent.
Berghain has an ice cream bar, multiple normal ones, dark rooms, and large unisex bathrooms. There's also sometimes an opening to a garden on the outside.
Im Berghain haben wir die Geländer an den Treppen, die es bereits gab, um etliche Zentimeter erhöht und die Handläufe abgerundet, damit man keine Bierflasche darauf abstellen kann. An den Geländern führen Metallwände bis zum Boden, um zu verhindern, dass umgetretene Flaschen hinunterrollen. Die Bartresen sind nicht besonders kantig. Und in vielen Durchgängen haben wir Möglichkeiten geschaffen, sich bequem anzulehnen oder hinzusetzen.
For a club that is based on exclusivity and secrecy, it needs to be safe enough so that it can protect itself from having to be opened up to the outside.
Niemand sollte auf der Toilette zusammenbrechen und erst am Montagmittag gefunden werden. Wir haben einige der Stahltüren mit Gummi gefüllt, weil die Leute, die draußen warten, mit den Fäusten dagegen schlagen, um endlich reinzukommen, während schon 4 Leute in der Kabine sind. Der Club soll auch instinktiv funktionieren. Das heißt, es gibt kaum Sackgassen. Man findet aus jeder Ecke eines Raumes den Weg heraus. Auch die Toilettenanlagen sind so gestaltet, dass man im Kreis um die Kabinen herumgehen kann.
Berghain may be exclusive because it's good for marketing. It might have an air of secrecy so that more people try and get in. But at this point, it should be clear to you that what's inside is underwhelming to explain. I can show you a floor plan, stainless steel bathrooms, and a Stalinist facade. But I can't make you smell the sweat, hear the droning sound of techno, or feel the comfort some find within its walls. Berghain was a fortress born from a time of authoritarian restriction. Today, its rules remain to protect a place beyond definition. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, consider checking out the link on screen to grab a building kit.